Alright. Howdy people! So, in this video, what I'm going to be covering is setting up project folders. Okay? So, this is really important when you're working as any kind of artist. I mean, or even in the workplace. We talk about organization, right? When you're working as a 3D artist, I can't stress enough how important it is that you structure your project folders properly. Um, so that's what we're going to go over. So if I come up here to File, when I start a production of some kind, if anybody starts a production, you need to create a network of folders. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the desktop, and I'm just going to save a folder on the desktop. I'm just going to create a folder on the desktop. I'm going to call this, and this is how we're going to structure everything in the class. Every assignment, we're going to create a new project folder. So I'm going to create a new project folder, and I'm going to call this my architectural asset folder. Okay, so architectural asset. And in fact, what I'm going to do is put my name, Brad M. Architectural Asset. Okay. So I've got this on the desktop, Brad M. Architectural Asset. I have that folder. And I want everybody to do the same for every assignment. Every assignment we do in this course, you're going to create a project folder with your first and last name, and then the name of the project we're working on. Okay, simple enough. So this is on my desktop. And I'm just going to minimize this. So now that I have that folder there, when I'm inside of Maya, I'm going to come up to File, and I'm going to come down to Project Window. Okay, File, all the way down here. See this one? Project, submenu, Project Window. I'm going to click on that. And this handy dandy window menu thingy comes up. I'm so learned, right? Window menu thingy. I have a bachelor's degree, for God's sake. I have a bachelor's degree. Should be smarter than this. So, in here, we can see we've got a whole bunch of project folder locations. And the first thing we're going to look at is essentially what we're going to create a project folder which all of these directories are going to be placed in. Okay, so we have a scenes directory, templates, images, source images, render data, clips, sound, scripts, data cache, movies, translate data, all this stuff. And what Maya is going to do when we create our project folders, it's going to place all of these folders into our project folder that we already created called Your Name Architectural Asset. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is my project, I want to say new. I'm going to click on this new button, and when I click on that, it's going to give me an option to name the project. What you want to name this folder, okay, so current project, this is a folder name. Okay, Maya is going to place a folder inside your project folder, and we want to call this folder Maya. Okay. And I'm going to explain why we call it Maya in just a second. And we want it to be located in our project folder, or I should call it our production folder. Okay. So if I go to the desktop, this is my production folder here that I already created, Brad M. Architectural Asset. So if we sort of imagine ourselves in a production, in a studio, we have a production name. So the production name could be Wildcats, it could be, Disney's Aladdin, whatever the project is, whatever the production is. So our production is architectural asset. That's our project. Okay. So we want to place, and if you can imagine, when you're creating a film, when a studio is creating a film or working on a project, they're going to have different departments. They're going to have the 3D department. They're going to have the concept art. They're going to have the 2D animation and all that stuff. So we're going to have like pre-production, production, and post-production. Well, we're going to be creating the Maya folder, which is the 3D production side of things. So we're going to say select because we want to place our Maya folder inside of our production folder, which is called Brad M Architectural Asset. Okay, and you're going to have this Maya folder, and in that folder you're going to have all these subdirectories. Okay, so again, folder's called Maya, and we're going to place our 3D Maya folder in this location, and we're just going to say accept. So now that I have that there, I can come back up to File, and I'm going to go Save Scene As. Okay, because in this course we're going to be doing asset development and modeling. Okay, modeling. So we're going to go to Save Scene As, click that, and you can see that it automatically brings me to the Scenes folder inside of the Maya directory and in Architectural Asset. But what I want to do is I want to come up one directory, and I'm going to go into where we're going to be creating our models is inside the Assets folder, because a model is a type of asset. Okay, so inside Assets, I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call this Props. Okay, so Assets, Props, or even for this we could say buildings. Okay. Okay. So for this I could say, because it's an architectural asset, Maya Assets, Buildings. And we can even create a new folder, and we can say architectural assets. So okay, so I could say architectural asset. Now, whatever it is you're going to model for your architectural asset, oh, I'm sorry, we need to create a models folder before that. That's my apologies, sorry. So we need to create a models folder. So assets, buildings, and inside every buildings we're gonna have inside buildings we're gonna have models. You know, you may have another folder inside assets called rigs. Okay. Okay. Rigs. Say you have a building that's rigged up with some joints and some deformers to explode or some effects, and you're doing some R&D, some research and development on that. You know, you may have just your model, or you may have like the model in the rigs folder. So you'd have different categories, but we're just going to be doing models. Okay, we're not going to be using rigs, but I'm just doing like a little demonstration on this. So Maya Assets, Buildings, Models. Okay, and inside Models, we're going to create another folder, and whatever it is you decide to model for your architectural assets. You know, say it's a fountain. So I'm going to say fountain model. Okay, and then inside there, I can say fountain model 01. Okay. Now I put a 0, 1 in front of my fountain model. This is what we call indexing a file. Now indexing is extremely important. I can't stress this enough. I don't ever want to see you guys creating a project file without an index on it. Okay, so indexing allows us to step backward in case we make a mistake as we're working. So it allows us to work in steps, work in passes, which is very important. Okay, so as we're modeling, we want to say, okay, we're gonna, when we're starting a project, we're gonna say fountain model 01, and so we make some changes to that model, and we call it 02 after we've made some changes. And then we make more changes. We call it 03. And we keep indexing that file 04, 04, 05, 06, 07, and so on and so forth. And that way, while we're working on the model, if something happens like Maya starts crashing, maybe there's something buggy going on with the model where it just won't open anymore, we can always step back to an indice, a previous indice that we can work from that isn't buggy and isn't corrupted, because in 3D, trust me, files get corrupted. Files sometimes just don't open, and we don't want that while we're working, especially you guys. You don't want that. Trust me, it's going to save you a lot of headaches. So index your files. So I'm going to save this as fountain model 01. And I'll just save it as a Maya binary. Now you can save them as Maya ASCII files. I would suggest you do save it as an ASCII file, simply because, I mean, honestly, in this course, you could save it as either or. The only difference between an ASCII file and a binary file is the ASCII file, you can actually go in and change the script, the text inside the script of the file in case something messes up. To be truthful, I probably wouldn't be able to help you anyway fixing the ASCII file if there's a corrupted file. So you could save it as a binary and that would just be fine. So everybody just save it as a binary. I was flip-flopping a little bit there, but now that I think about it, I really wouldn't be able to help you much anyway if your file was corrupted. You would just have to go back. So save it as a Maya binary. And I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So I'll say save as. I know it was kind of long and drawn out explanation. But now I have my project folder set up. And, go to save scene as. And let's just do a little recap on our file structure here. Our projects are all going to be called whatever the assignment is. So you created a project folder, you gave it a name. This is the architectural asset assignment. I'm just using that as an example, but that's going to be the first assignment that we work on, so that's why I used it as an example. So you created your folder, and you went to project window, and you created your Maya directory. And inside Maya directory, you have, all these subdirectories which we use in production. And where we create our assets, again, is in the assets folder. So we created so say we have buildings, we could have props, vehicles, okay? So in this case it's a building, so we just called our folder buildings. And then in there we have models, we can have rigs. Okay, so we're working on a model, so we created a models directory. And inside there we have our fountain model folder. And inside there we have our fountain model 01. And this is where we're going to keep all of our fountain model Maya binary files. Okay. All right. And again, make sure you're indexing your files so that while you're working and something, if in the event something messes up, we can always go back. And we can always save our work, save all the hard work we've done. Okay, so now we're ready to model, and we can create a model, work on it, just to demonstrate You know, we can extrude some faces. Whatever. Yeah. So we make some changes to the model. Right now I have symmetry on. That's fine. I'll just keep working like that. Okay, so I made some changes to the model. And now, because I don't want to lose those changes, I'm going to save scene as. Save scene as, not save scene. And I'm just going to add an index to that by changing this to an O2. And I'll hit enter. Just say continue. And there we are. Fountain model O2. And now, if I don't like the changes I made here, obviously, I can go to open scene and then open up fountain model O1, which I don't think has anything in it. But you get the picture. Okay? So that's just a look at creating our project folders, setting up our projects for our assignments, and how I would like you to structure everything so that you're working nice and organized. And the other reason I want you to do this too is when we get into doing some texturing in some later assignments, it's going to keep all your textures and everything nice and organized. Okay, so we want to make sure that all of our shaders are pointed into the proper directories. You know, in this case, when we go to if I open up save scene as here, if I open up everything, in this case, your textures are going to be saved in your source images folder. Okay, and you'll create a texture folder called textures, and then inside here you're going to have your diffuse textures, your bumps, specular, occlusion maps, you know, whatever. Okay? But that way, all of your shaders will be pointed to the right directories for every assignment, and we're not going to have some willy-nilly way of setting things up. Because again, in a production, it's really important that you stay organized, everything is contained within nice organized folders so that your director doesn't, you know, rip your head off and make your life miserable. Okay? Alright. Good talk. That's how you set up your project folders. And I'll see you in the next video. Alright. Take care.